The beauty of playing through any of the Fallout games is the ability to make a character that's true to whatever you want it to be, whether it be some grizzled, dried up old mercenary, or some brand new recruit in the NCR. You can be pretty much anything that you set your mind to. Age is a pretty fluid concept with the Fallout games, so that's why I'm taking that concept and running with it, and asking if you can beat Fallout New Vegas as a baby. I named myself Boss Baby because that was the only fitting name for this run, and created an absolute monstrosity to play through this game as. I went off to go ahead and assign my specials, focusing mostly on strength and intelligence this run, as I figured a toddler with a melee weapon was about the scariest thing I could think of. Nobody should give a toddler a knife. I went with melee weapons, medicine, and speech as my tag skills for this run, and then for traits I assigned small frame since it was pretty fitting, and skilled. I should note that for this run to be possible, I used a console command to adjust my size. I played around for this for a little bit until I found a size that I think worked best. I was about a little bit taller than a fence post, which was kind of concerning, but with that out of the way, I headed off on my adventure. My first victim was a group of puppies, two of which were about the same size as me, and then a rad scorpion that scared the shit out of me while I was beating on the puppies, so I made it not exist anymore because it didn't deserve to live after that. I of course discovered Hidden Valley for later, as I usually do on these runs, as I almost always end up back there at one point or another, killed a couple bark scorpions since they gave me a good bit of experience pretty early on, and went off to try to fight the centaurs. This didn't actually go as bad as I was expecting. I do a piss poor amount of damage as a baby, but I had a grenade launcher, so, I win, because explosives. I also decided I was going to kill Tabitha while I was up in Black Mountain, as I usually don't do that in any of my runs. After I killed her, I took her items, one of which being a super sledge, which I was insanely happy to find that early, as well as taking out the Nightkin sniper that has Annabelle on the tower. I would be picking this up and using it later during the run, occasionally, if there was an emergency. I also took Raoul with me so I wasn't as lonely on this run, and we stopped by the Eldorado substation, where for some reason one of the NCR soldiers had the need to tell me that they like raiding parties from the Legion. Don't know what that was about, but I went and got into some fights with some Vipers, because of course I did, and bonked a couple bugs because I needed to test out the super sledge on something, as I hadn't quite killed anything with it yet. It was pretty damn good. While I was here, I went ahead and bomped the Lonesome Drifter, who just fell through the floor and disappeared. I found his body wigging out under the pavement a few feet away, which was kind of concerning, but I took his stuff and went and sold my soul so that I could buy a chainsaw when I was at 188 Trading Post. I've never actually used the chainsaw before in any of the Fallout games, and it was pretty terrifying to think of a little toddler running around with a chainsaw, so that was what I did. The first victim was a random raider that I found that just absolutely moon-launched, as well as a couple NCR deserters that met the match with the chainsaw. They also moon-launched. I'm not entirely sure if that's due to me being a baby or if that's just how the chainsaw works. I did some bartering with the gunrunners, which was mostly just buying some armor as I would need it later. I also killed the Wasteland Legend outside of Freeside's gate because I wanted his Mark II combat armor, as I normally do, and then went off to turn the Followers of the Apocalypse into what was basically a slaughter movie. I pretty much went in here like I was Leatherface off the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and just murdered everyone. And then next on my list was, of course, the Kings. It's not a Fallout run unless I murder them, unless I'm too weak to do so, but this run was not like that. For some reason, Rex bonked me once and I turned into an utter monstrosity. That was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in a Fallout game. Screw the ghouls in the metro tunnels on Fallout 3. Nah, that is by far the most terrifying thing I can think of. Of course, next on the list to die was old Ben, who just kind of fell over. The Omertas I murdered early because I would need them out of the way regardless of who I sided with this time. So I went in there and started killing them off, except Raoul killed pretty much everybody before I could really get up to them. I'm kinda glad I took Raoul. I also struggled to talk to Swank in the tops because I'm a child, so I couldn't really see over the desk. Benny thought that he could convince me to not chainsaw him in the ass, and that's when I noticed the platinum chip wasn't on his body. I'm sure that won't cause any issues in about 5 minutes. So, spoiler alert, it caused some issues. Mr. House pissed me off by saying that I didn't have the platinum chip even though I looted Benny's body. I'm not sure why I didn't have it, but I killed Emily Ortel on my way out, and then the entire strip got pissed at me, including the Securitrons. This hasn't happened before, so I'm not entirely sure why they were angry now. I took out my annoyance of not having the platinum chip on most of the chairmen on my way up to search Benny's body again, who, lo and behold, had the fucking platinum chip for some reason. So I didn't really feel like dealing with Mr. House because I didn't want to walk back there again, so I just talked to Yes Man so that I could start slaughtering everyone. I also went off to just get the white gloves out of the way. They were pretty much a cakewalk as all of them walked directly into the massive chainsaw in the toddler's hands, which was a great idea. I killed pretty much everyone else in here since I was still slightly annoyed at the whole platinum chip thing. Mortimer tried to hide from me in a little back room. It didn't work for him. He died immediately. Outside, the Securitrons were still pissed off at me. I'm not sure why. I still can't think of a reason why they would be mad at me for just killing one of the followers of the apocalypse, as I've done that multiple times, but I killed Mr. House with an excessive amount of force using Annabelle because, you know, it was funny, and then headed off towards the boomers. But on my way there, I also decided that these NCR troops needed to die, as one of them had a missile launcher, and I wanted the ammo it would give me for Annabelle. So with all of them dead, as, you know, can be when you're using a chainsaw, I used Annabelle to noob tube a group of kings that aggravated me, except I missed almost all of them. I think I only killed one with that missile. I also got into a fight with some fiends on the way to the boomers. I watched Raoul get punched in the face, which was pretty funny. Guns are not the move, for the most part, but, you know, they still put in the work against George. And then I started running my ass to the boomers. Yeah, this wasn't fun. This didn't go well. I died here probably 6 or 7 times just trying to get through, and I didn't have a whole lot in the way of healing items. I was down to about 12 stim packs and 3 doctor bags, so I had to basically get lucky and hope that the artillery missed me enough, which it eventually did. So I got into the boomers and killed Pearl because she aggravated me by making me sit through the torture that was running through the artillery. I also killed Raquel and pretty much everyone outside. I almost killed Raoul in the process, but, you know, it's fine. And then I went off to the Silver Rush to pick up one of my favorite items in the game, that being the laser RCW. I figure if I'm not limited to weapons on this run, I can use it. So I went back to Good Springs and headed off towards Red Rock Canyon to deal with the Great Khans, because they were next on the list of people to murder. I nearly killed myself multiple times with my own grenade launcher, and crippled my limbs more times than I care to admit, but the laser RCW made insanely easy work of the Cazadors. I also started being, you know, a wannabe boomer and just artillery shelling the absolute shit out of the Vipers nearby, and committing, you know, some more PETA acts that are going to get me contacted and put on a list again. The Khans weren't too bad for the most part. Raoul did most of the damage here, and he definitely took most of the aggro, which made me feel bad a little bit for him. But with all the Khans in the Longhouse dead, I went outside and killed a Khan that was just puking on a building, which, you know, kind of made me feel bad, but that's what happens when you're a drug addict. Don't do drugs, kids. But anyways, next up on the list was the Brotherhood. Oh, the Brotherhood got absolutely bullied this run. I had a grenade launcher at this point, so the Brotherhood didn't really stand a chance, as well as I upgraded my entire arsenal here after nuking pretty much everybody down below. I picked up all the good weapons here. Nobody survived. Not even the turrets were safe this run. I grabbed pretty much everything I could think of here, as well as all the ammo because I would be converting it into electron charge packs for the RCW, but I picked up Gauss rifles, I picked up super sludges, I picked up damn near everything that I figured was good, and by this point I was level 15. Normally I beat the game at like level 12, but with a massive amount of electron charge packs at this point, nearly 2,500, I went off to stock up on some supplies from Doc Mitchell and Chet, mostly just healing as I was completely out, and headed off towards Nipton so that I could begin the long-ass slog to Cottonwood Cove. This took me nearly, I think, 15 or 20 minutes to run there, so it was, you know, pretty fun. Did I mention I'm absolutely slow as hell as a baby? It's great taking 4 times the amount of time it takes to walk somewhere. Absolutely lovely. At Cottonwood Cove, I was pretty sick of running at this point, so I decided that I was going to take out my annoyance on the Legion by slaughtering absolutely everyone inside. And as I had a shit ton of ammo for the laser RCW, I cleared out mostly everyone with that and the chainsaw, because, well, melee enemies, they just kind of run right into a weapon that ignores all damage threshold and does about 400 DPS, as I'd pretty much maxed out my melee weapons at this point. Caesar got a missile directly to his face, and everyone else died pretty much immediately. I used the Gauss rifle to clear out some of the Legionnaires at long range, but it was, fairly simple. I picked up a couple ballistic fists as well, which were kind of fun to use. I just kind of bonked the Protectrons and the turrets with them to upgrade the Securitrons, which was actually pretty fun. I don't normally use this weapon, so it was fun to kill a couple people with it. I made the mistake of getting noob-tubed by the Securitrons on my way back to the Lucky 38 with Yes Man so that he could insert himself and then give me the wonderful... I sat through Yes Man's version of the Securitron presentation and went off to the Eldorado substation to subsequently slaughter every NCR trooper inside with the laser RCW. I then started the second battle of Hoover Dam, which was fairly easy. This is probably the second easiest I've ever had it here, only seconded to the Raider run, where I had 3 insanely strong companions plus myself, without, the modification of being a baby. The NCR heavy troopers blew my legs off, and then I activated the power to the dam. With that done, I killed the Securitron when I made it to the Legates camp because I wasn't interested in getting my legs blown off by friendly fire again. The guards were mostly pushovers as I found an anti-material rifle on my way there, and then I started chipping away at the Legates' health. Yeah, did I say chipping away? I actually meant that he died in about 3 seconds as soon as I pulled out the chainsaw, and then subsequently flew off of the goddamn cliff. None of the rest of the soldiers put up much of a fight. The chainsaw is just too good of a weapon. With that, General Oliver arrived, and you'll notice I have a missile launcher. It's a surprise tool that'll help us later. But with that out of the way, I proved that yes, you can beat Fallout New Vegas as a baby. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And I wanted to let you guys know that I will have a Patreon linked in the comments, actually. I went ahead and made one today. I'm not sure why, it just kind of struck me. And after the community post I did on it, I figured it was a good idea. But thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.